Hi there! Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. This week's video is going to be very different because I've been participating in Mermay for the very first time using digital art. So basically, I'm trying two things that I've never done before. Ambitious, I know. I'm following the great, the fantastic, the amazing Pixie Styx mermaid prompt list that she so graciously created herself. I thought it was perfect for me because it's an every other day prompt list, so less pressure. The first prompt was Kawaii, which I knew meant was supposed to be cute. That's why I went with this style of eyes, even though it's not the style I would normally draw eyes. For drawings done more in my own style, check out my Draw This in Your Style playlist linked in the iCard and description. Basically, this is my very first digital art piece, so you can see how I was testing a bunch of brushes I'm not familiar with yet. I'm just kind of getting used to the process. And yeah, it could be better, but I'm not mad about it. I think it's cute, which I guess means I successfully fulfilled the prompt. The next prompt was tropical, and I wanted this one to be steps above the first. At first, I wanted the pose to be relaxed on a chair with a drink, as you can see, but that wasn't really turning out how I'd like, so I ended up switching her position to be on her belly. Me and Pixie actually did very similar poses for this one. Check out her Instagram to see hers, link below. For my first prompt, I didn't really use any references for anatomy, which was a mistake I was not going to make this time. I took some photos of myself holding a cup and sipping a straw, and these photos turned out being so helpful. The hand holding the cup is probably the best hand I've ever drawn, hands down. Or up. Steampunk, which, admittedly, I know nothing about, other than what Dollightful talks about on her titanium and iron oxide customs. Great videos, by the way. For this one, I decided to create a
Merman. Merman!
And my husband graciously lent his body for my pose and shading reference. Thank you, dear. For the color scheme with this one, I just googled steampunk and pulled color references from some images to get a cohesive color palette. But I added the red hair. What I had trouble with the most for this piece was the tail. I was going for a bolted plate kind of look, but it just seems so separated from the rest of the body. I feel like I did a pretty good job rendering the skin to make it look realistic, but the tail just looks kind of jarring next to it in my opinion. What do you think? Overall, I felt like this was my best piece yet, which feels like progress. The final prompt for this week was retro, and after googling retro, I came across some colors that I really liked and just kind of winged it with the design from there. I ended up changing the hairstyle from what I initially started with, and I kind of regret it. What I end up with doesn't really feel as retro, but then again, I'm not really sure what retro is. I was just going off of what Google told me. After I did her initial design, it almost felt more groovy than retro, and asking Google what the difference between groovy and retro is actually did not help at all. It was acting like it was the same thing, but I didn't think it was, so... Her hair gave me the most trouble out of all the pieces. I was trying to go for a much more rendered style, and it didn't really turn out how I wanted it to. I had a really hard time getting the highlights in there to look realistic and not super cartoony. Also the shading on her face. It was really hard for me to find the right color to get the shading on her face to look natural and not just look dirty. I definitely need more practice with that. Once again for her pose, I just took reference pictures of myself, and I also decided to keep her hands more simplified for this just because I've done realistic hands in my last two pieces, and since the hair and the shading was giving me so much trouble, I decided just let the hands go. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out in the end. Hopefully the next hairstyle that I do, I can apply what I've learned not to do from this piece. So here are the 4 completed artworks from the first week of Mermay, remembering that I'm doing an every other day prompt list, so there was only 4 for this week. I'm really excited for next week's prompt list. Next week's video will most likely be the same layout with the digital art like this week's was, just because I do plan on moving within the next week or two, so it's much easier to just sit on the couch with my family and draw on my iPad than to set up my camera and my lights to do some traditional artwork. But don't worry, because I do have more realistic colored pencil portraits coming up. Also, I want to get back into my random color challenge series, so look forward to that. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, click that thumbs up button if you like this video, and go ahead and drop your Instagram links in the comments. I'd love to see your guys' submissions for Mermay. Thank you so much for watching. Alright, bye guys.